um, James is going into seventh grade, right?
Hmm.
And I know, right? And my dad has this laptop that he used for his old job that he doesn't need anymore, and so he decided that James could use a laptop for school because he's getting to that age and whatnot. So he figured he could use a laptop for school, and it's a really nice HP laptop. Um, and the but the Windows install was hosed. And so I'm like, how can I fix this Windows install? And they're like, you can create a recovery drive from another computer that has the same version of Windows on it. And I have like four Windows machines here. And so I used my gaming system to create the uh, the recovery drive, and it said it had to be at least 8 gigs. I could use a flash drive, and
Sorry, I got bored.
it had to be at least 8 gigs. And so I don't have any flash drives, but I had some SD cards. So I used my SD card and I put it in there and told it to make the recovery drive. And it's like, which drive do you want to use? And it only offered me one drive as an option. Um, so I just thought, well, that's clearly the flash drive that I put in with the SD card in it.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. See, the flash drive wasn't big enough, so it didn't give that to me as an option. What it was offering me was my second hard drive that had my entire Tokusatsu library on it, that I've been curating for like 2 years at least. So I lost 250 gigs worth of Japanese programming.
Oh,
That's a lot.
That is a lot. It was at least 15 complete Sentai series and a bunch of movies, related movies. So yeah,
that
I
hurt.
was. It hurts. I can get it back. It's nothing that's like gone forever. It just took me a long time to get all that stuff. Um, and I know where to find it all, so it won't take me as long to get it all back. Um, but yeah, it hurts.
Hmm.
So I have and the computer still doesn't work. The stupid laptop still won't load after all that, and the system fan is out. And so I called, and it's probably because it's a little over my head to replace it. You practically have to take the whole computer apart to replace it, and it's probably going to cost about $200 to get it fixed.
Well, you
So
have
I don't know
that.
if it's worth it,
Yeah.
but that was my day.
That sucks, man.
Hosed my entire Japanese drive.
Nice.
Yeah. At least it wasn't porn.
Oh, somebody's calling me. Hang on. Sorry, my phone scared the shit out of me.
Yeah. It'd be a really sad day if it was my adult drive.
Hello?
Yes. We don't speak of that.
No, we don't.
They were speaking Spanish.
Oh, that's cool.
So I bailed. May have been rude.
Lo siento.
Are you not into that anymore?
No, I just told him lo siento, no habla español, bitch. And I
Well,
hung
okay.
up.
Because
Oh,
there was a
good times.
time when you were okay with that.
What, Mexicans?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I love Mexicans. They're women anyway. Now the guys, they can build the wall from the other side.
What am I watching?
Nothing?
Hold on. Hold on. This is
Oh,
great.
and it gives it the title too. I forgot that.
Oh.
Did you see the message, BJ?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Oh yeah.
Oh, does he give it to Grandpa?
visual jokes. I apologize to our listeners. There's a visual joke going on in the background. It's amazing. But that's for the Too Nerdy After Dark. Sorry.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. And he's crying. Oh my god.
You're welcome.
Give the most touching gift. Oh my god.
I came home.
The heartfelt hug.
So
Oh,
I've
the
been on
single tear.
a trip all week, guys.
That's
So
Yeah,
and this
I was
is I
wondering,
came home to
Like,
Facebook on
it is
this.
nice to know that you're still alive.
Yeah, that's good
'Cause
times,
you've
man.
been out of contact for a while.
Where'd you go?
I had like just a whole slew of stuff. Last Tuesday, so like a week ago, I drove from here to Georgia, like in a day,
That's
and then
that's
I
a heavy
visited-
commute.
it's a little bit. So I got a lot of Pokemons though. Boy howdy,
Did you now?
I did. But I went and visited my uncle for about 2 days because I had a fraternity meeting over the weekend. So, I got in Tuesday, was hanging out with him Tuesday, Wednesday.
What kind of fraternity?
Kappa Sigma,
Oh, okay.
a social fraternity.
Yeah, a lot of paddling.
A little bit. One moment, please. I'm going to have to pause my story.
Oh, you're such a tease.
I didn't know there were emojis and like emoji gifs in Google Hangouts.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Just looking around.
Yeah.
Try one.
Hey, look at that. That's cool. Y'all should see this. So, have you started your pop vinyl collection?
No, not yet. Not yet.
It's a slippery slope, man.
Yeah, well, hell, now that freaking we're losing Hastings, sure you'd be able
Right.
to snag them up pretty cheap.
And I'm back. Dinner arrived.
Ah,
What are we getting at Hastings
what-
for cheap?
everything.
Yeah,
Excellent.
Hastings is closing down, so.
What?
Did you
I
miss
know.
that?
I did not catch that. I remember you talking about the
Hastings.
pop
has-
vinyls.
Well, Hastings declared bankruptcy about a month ago. They filed Chapter 11, and they were shopping it around trying to find somebody that would buy it. And like last Friday, maybe the bankruptcy judge ruled that they were done and authorized them to close out everything. And their final business day is going to be Halloween. So if you're anywhere near a Hastings, keep an eye out because sooner than later they're going to start the fire sale because everything must go.
All right. Looks like I'm googly.
And if you need if you need stuff in your if you need a place to put stuff in your house, they'll be selling fixtures too.
Ooh. Looks like
So-
I'm going to Waxahachie.
So yeah, they'll be selling they're going to sell off the entire store. So
I never realized there is
Some
no
beanbag
Hastings.
chairs.
You got Greenville and you got Waxahachie.
yeah,
That is
I'll be
All
hitting
there is in
Greenville.
Dallas.
I'll be hitting the Greenville stores the Greenville store pretty hard because I come through Greenville to get the kids.
Yeah.
So Sunday afternoon or Sunday evenings after I take the kids home, I can swing through.
Just to clarify, he's a father. He doesn't just go to Greenville and snag children off the street.
Yeah,
Yeah, I go to Greenville to get the kids. It's my hunting
Yeah.
grounds.
it is.
Candy van, man.
Yeah.
It is.
So
But yeah, and they. Speaking of, I'll let you finish your story in a minute, Mikey. I promise.
that's fine.
We do care about your story.
Well,
No, really,
I
we do.
cut it off.
No, like you lost your chance. You have to go back to
I
the
walked
line
away.
now.
Yeah.
You have to wait till your turn comes back. But no, they. Speaking of Greenville, I was passing through last weekend, I guess, and Greenville has had an economic boom as of late. They recently opened an El Phoenix, a Snuffers. They're about to open a Chipotle. They're about halfway through building a Hobby Lobby, and they have recently opened an Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Oh,
So
I'm very excited because my shopping habits are very ironic because I don't read, but I love bookstores. I'm fat and don't do the sports thing, but I love sporting goods stores. And so so I'm very excited that Academy is in Greenville now. That's a big deal for me. And they're also supposed to be getting some stuff over on the other side of the interstate by Walmart. But yeah, Greenville's like a legit town now.
it's so wild. Well, we talked about this numerous times. Just how the outer lying parts of the Metroplex have exploded in our life. Like
Mhm.
I remember when Rockwall was nothing. Like it was legitimately just an exit to a gas station and a McDonald's. And now it's like a city. You know, all the areas where you live now, over towards Terrell, used to all just be black farmland.
Right.
Like the land was black.
Old Man Peabody used to own
Oh, orange
farmland.
groves as far as the eye could see.
had this crazy idea about breeding pine trees.
But yeah, and like Little Greenville, that you're not kidding. This stuff has happened in the last like 2 months
Yeah.
because that stuff wasn't going up until very recently. It's like there was a massive land sale all at once. It's wild. It is 7 o'clock.
It's the one thing
already.
they're not making any more of.
It's true. Well,
Land? I know, it's nuts.
well, I mean, unless like the islands in the Pacific, those volcanoes. It's
That's
kind of
true.
their thing.
That's true.
So,
Sorry, we need somebody to do well, actually.
So, all right, Mikey, you went out of town.
so I went out of town. Went gallivanting to Georgia. Then to yeah.
Dang.
So uncle, I got family, but it's been a while since I've seen them, so it was good.
Did you go to the Walking Dead set?
I did not. So
Go to the Spider-Man
about
set.
that though, my uncle used to live where they shot Walking Dead. He moved,
Oh
but
yeah.
he used to.
Well, because of
he
all the
used to
zombies,
live
you
there.
had to move too.
Yeah, I'd get out too. Well, I mean, I'd walk out fast. I mean, they're not going to get me.
That's true. You don't really have to run anywhere.
Yeah.
That's,
Did
they
you go
are
to
the
the Coca-
Walking Dead. I mean,
Did you
they're
go
not
to the
the lightly
Coca-Cola
jockey
plant?
dead.
I did not go to the Coca-Cola plant.
You should have, because as
What
it
the hell
turns
did
out,
you do then?
because as it turns out, the
Huh.
Coca-Cola plant actually processes medical grade cocaine. I'm not kidding.
Huh.
They still do the extract from the coca leaf, and they got just a mountain of medical grade cocaine they sell to the medical community. Stuff you
feel
should
like-
know.
I feel like there's a scene with a janitor that finds that room like in half baked.
Or we could write like a really fun heist movie.
Right,
solely on
exactly.
that.
No. So you asked, Chris. I went to Brass Top Bald Mountain in Georgia, the highest point in Georgia, because my
Brass-
uncle was trying to kill me.
Okay.
Now, are you saying brass top?
Brass Top, all one word.
Brass Top Bald Mountain?
Yes, Brass
Sounds
Top
like a very specific kind of
Space.
strip club.
Bald. Sounds amazing.
Brass Top Bald Mountain sounds like a very, very specific kind of clientele.
It's for the older gentlemen. You leave your walker at the door.
It's an elderly gentleman's club.
Now that's not the one with the Confederate generals on it, right? No, that's Stone Mountain, isn't it?
Yeah, Stone Mountain. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
So we get there, and my uncle's like, "Oh, do you want to take the bus or do you want to walk it?" He goes, "Oh, look, it's only 0.6 of a mile." I was like, "He's like, well, let's walk it." I was like, "Okay, cool." That's 0.6 of a mile up a mountain, and it was switchbacks, and it sucked. It was fun, but man, I'm out of shape. I'd have to stop like every 5 minutes and sit down.
Makes you
'Cause-
really think about your decisions in life.
It makes me hate mountains.
I'm not doing anything wrong. It's this damn mountain.
Yeah.
It's too tall.
So
Why
I mean,
would
old
someone
people
go
are
with
laughing
this
at
thing?
me. I was sad. Old people are like, yeah, just keep going. I was like, no, I need to stop.
Mikey's the only person in the world that supports West Virginia tearing down its mountains for coal.
Please do.
Tear them all down. Screw it.
So that was good. I mean, it was fun. It was a thing to see, and it was cool.
Did you go into the observation tower?
We did.
Yeah.
Well, the observation tower is shut down. Like I guess
Oh.
it's been shut down.
Um,
But they had like a movie from the 80s, and it was like a 15-minute movie
Well,
all about Brass Top Bald Mountain.
okay.
So.
Though, even if, I mean, you didn't get to go to the observation tower, but did you really miss anything? Because all that you were going to see was the other side of the mountain.
True. Well, if you look at my Facebook, I mean, I posted like a panoramic. It was nice looking. But yeah, I mean, and it was so they had the observation tower, but then they also had like just a level observation deck too. So it was cool.
I thought that bear went over the mountain joke was a lot better than y'all did. I don't think that joke got the appreciation it should.
didn't
I don't think
land
so.
as well as
Yeah.
honestly. I was reading something.
I got it.
I worked hard on that, like forming that joke while Mikey was talking.
Sorry, I was not paying attention. I was reading the term bald
Oh my god!
is common mountain terminology in English describing mountaintops that have 360-degree unobstructed views.
Yes.
Well,
And
okay.
I was incorrect. It is Brass Town,
Yeah, I
not
found it.
Brass Top. Brass Town.
Okay.
I didn't want to
Incorrect.
interrupt you. Yeah.
So,
That's fine. No, correct me.
So did you spend a night on Bald Mountain, or did you go back down?
I went back down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Y'all suck. Okay, I'm trying.
You gonna take your toys and go home?
Now, if anybody wants to
Snowboarding
visit
ever.
this place,
What do
you
you
can
know
just go
from
to
funny?
Road.
What were you saying, Beach?
I was saying if anybody wants to visit this place, they can just go down to Old Creek Road and Concurrent, Georgia 17 and 75 near Mountain Scene.
Mm-hmm.
No, the climb is 13.5 kilos. Screw that.
Yeah. It's bad. I mean, it was
And
fun. It was
You
bad.
gain 2,700 feet in elevation, or 828 meters for all the people who use that fake shit.
Oh, you mean the one that actually the system that actually makes sense?
Yeah. I mean, if you support like Napoleonic France and communism.
Or
Vive la France.
easily converting different forms of measurement.
Who
Not
keeps the
having to-
metric system down? We do.
So it was a pretty fun trip all around, except for the
Yeah. Florida was fun. I mean,
You went to Florida as well.
I went to Florida after that. Yeah, that was where the fraternity meeting was, and
Oh
then
yeah. Did y'all hit
So-
the beach?
I did not. I am pasty, Beach. I don't like the sun.
That's the point of the beach, Mikey.
Yeah, that's true. I could stare at the women from my hotel room. It was fun.
Well, that's also that's more
Yeah.
fun. But,
There you go.
yeah.
So,
Hang out the window. Are you gonna go to your car alone later,
have you seen the gym?
or?
Really looking for the gym to work out. Thank you. See, that's
No
funny.
reference. See, I was gonna make a joke about you crossing the Florida-Georgia line, but y'all don't deserve it. You wouldn't appreciate it anyway.
I don't think I get it.
I got it. I get that
It's
reference.
It's
It's a song.
It's
Isn't
a
there like a bro country band or
yeah.
something?
It's a bro
Okay.
country thing.
Okay.
Dude, bros in cowboy hats.
Yeah, see, I
Gay.
listen to country anyways, let alone dude bro country, so.
Yeah,
It's not even country.
it's not like even country fans are like, "What are you doing?
Yeah.
Stop it."
So
Any song that starts out, "I'm gonna wear my flip flops," that's not a country song.
No,
Like legitimately, that's the opening line to one of their songs.
I think you're using the word song pretty liberally there, Beach.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of, okay, this is going to be a really, really weird transition. But
Okay.
speaking of your name, and it's not, I'm not going where you think I'm going.
Okay.
There's a guy that I've been talking to on Twitter who actually goes by Beach.
Oh yeah.
Like that's what his Twitter handle is Professor Beach, Beej. And that's what people call him.
Is he an Indian guy?
No.
Oh.
He's a Southerner, like white bread Southern country guy.
Well,
So
good for him.
owning
it.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
What's he a
that's
professor of?
English.
Oh,
He's an English professor.
that's fun.
So
Where
Does he work with your sister?
no, he was in Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
He works somewhere in
So
in
does he
Atlanta.
work with Mikey going up the mountain?
You may have run into. I don't know. He's a runner. So was anybody running up this mountain, Mikey?
They
Pointing
don't
and
go at
laughing
a
at you as you
quick pace.
struggled.
I can't say running.
Did anyone like point and laugh as they sped by?
many.
And said on the and kept saying on the left.
He's like, it's kind of hard
Yeah,
to notice
on
when
your
I'm staring
left.
at the ground.
On
I
your
know,
left.
on my left. Shut up.
So, Beej and I have been talking recently, and Eric and I kind of somewhat on the same topic, about the increase in drug use in the UFC and WWE with some high-profile suspensions and things coming down.
And call outs in the middle of.
God, that was awesome.
That's-
Yeah, so
but my favorite was still calling him Ellen.
right, yeah.
RKO.
So yeah, Eric and Mikey and I watched UFC 200, which was about the most boring dance recital I've ever been to.
Except for
the
Misha
main
Tate
event.
Misha Tate got her butt handed to her.
Like watching
Yeah.
Misha Tate get her nose broke was awesome because
Yeah.
I wonder if it'll look right now because it
Well,
didn't look right before, so maybe she did her a favor and fixed it.
So
Let me
she's
straighten
now
that for you. Don't
she's-
move.
So she's now had her arm broken and her nose broken in the ring.
Yeah. But
Maybe you should find a new line of work. Just saying.
yeah, so
You know she
And,
could
I mean-
murder you, right?
and before we
That-
dive into that, speaking of UFC, UFC sold for
All
like
the money.
$11
the
billion
money.
dollars.
BJ,
Yeah.
The UFC sold for more than Yahoo did.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
that's
did.
funny.
BJ, she may be able to beat me, but she can't beat any of her opponents, so it doesn't really matter. I'm an untrained. I'm not trained. They are, so and supposedly she is.
Yeah, Verizon bought Yahoo for half of what the UFC went for.
Well, that's because between the two, which one's more profitable? I mean, who uses Yahoo anymore?
That's
By the
what we're
community.
saying. I mean, Yahoo
But
was
yeah.
one of the pillars of the internet for us back in the 90s, and now it's gone. It's just nuts that what was
Yeah.
once an untouchable giant has now fallen.
Yeah.
I mean,
And Rogan today actually signed a
Yeah.
contract extension for a lighter schedule.
yeah.
That was how they were able to keep him.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. So they must have offered him so much money just
Yeah.
to keep him on. Like they probably said, okay, well you get the same pay with less work. I mean, that's like the
Yeah.
only way they could have done it.
Which probably means his only obligations now are going to be fights.
Hmm.
Like he probably won't even have to do weigh-ins or anything like that. I would guess his only obligation now, because he doesn't work that much. I don't know how much they could lighten his load to begin with,
That's
but
the thing. He doesn't. That's the thing. He doesn't have to. You know, he's got
right,
one of, if not the most successful podcasts on the internet.
He's
right,
got stand-up that he's been doing for years.
Massive stand-up following. He owns a good portion of On It Sports supplements. You know, I mean, he's fine financially. He's only doing it because he enjoys it.
Right.
But I don't know. I don't know how well he's going to work with new management.
Yeah.
He grew with the
And
old people.
and it depends on what type of new management they bring in too, because Dana White is staying on as the president.
Hmm.
So it just depends on how hands-on the new ownership wants to be.
Yeah, I mean, because he and Dana are cool. They're good.
Yeah, they're bros.
But it all depends on who these new people are gonna turn out to be.
Right.
Because, well, I mean, anybody that spends $4 billion on something,
Right.
they're gonna be all over the top of it.
Yeah. And what I would like to see them do, honestly, is I want to see them have a little bit more accountability and a little bit more transparency, because Mark Hunt has actually brought up a lot of good points in the last several weeks. When Brock failed his drug test, that fighters have no rights and they have no representation. There's no fighters union, and he said that after the Reebok deal screwed everybody over, and the fact that he has now fought his last 2 fights against people that got hit with a doping violation after the fight, that they need representation because that company is built on their blood and they don't get any recognition for it.
Mm-hmm.
And they have no protection at all against management. Their individual representatives are the only ones that are on their side. They have no unified front against management. And
Yeah, I mean,
he makes a lot of valid points.
Yeah, there's talk about unionizing, but there's also a big fear in that because, if the way that I heard it put anyway was, if they unionize and management is forced to open the books and see, and if they open the books and then it's proven that they've been taking care of the guys as well as they could, then the union will instantly collapse and nobody will ever be able to stand against management again.
Right.
And on the same side, it's like, if there's nothing to hide, why don't you open the books now?
Right.
So man, it's scary for these people because, these fighters, in the beginning, they don't make a lot of money.
Mm-mm.
You've got to get ranked before you start making any income. And even then, your career may be over in one fight. You take a good cross to the side of the face and you get a detached retina. That's it.
Yeah. Well, did you hear about the guy that got his skull caved in?
No.
Oh, did you miss this?
Yeah.
Here, y'all. I'm gonna pull this up, and I can't do 2 things at one time. So, I'll get to it in a second. It was a Bellator fight about 2 weeks ago. Guy took a knee to the forehead, and it caved in his skull.
Jeez.
Yeah, his wife posted the picture of his caved in head and the X-ray of his shattered skull. So yeah, it was pretty great. So
look that up.
See, Bellator
Evangelista Santos.
shattered skull.
Well, that's him on the ground.
He looks worse than Rocky did at the end of Rocky 1.
Ooh, man, that 3D mapping is rough.
Yeah.
3D mapping of that skull?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I mean, there's definitely a point of impact.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like he got hit in the forehead with a softball.
Yeah. Going really, really fast.
So, yeah.
I mean, that's the thing
that happened.
The rest of his face already looked like an ogre, but that just, that's rough.
Yeah. And then the dude rolled a Pokeball at it and did an anime pose after he won.
And it's Cyborg's ex-husband, also known as, who he also goes by the name Cyborg.
Right. So, So yeah, the two big profile anti-doping or doping violations were John Jones, who got pulled 3 days before the show because he failed a drug test, and it
And
has
his
now.
also failed.
Yeah, both of them failed. Well, he got pulled when his A sample failed, and then his B sample failed as well, and it was for estrogen blockers, which is what you take when you're coming off the juice. And so John Jones has been suspended until they decide what to do. The UFC has said they will not be issuing a fine for the doping violation, but the Nevada Athletic Commission could issue a fine. My issues with John Jones are well documented. This is another thing I want management to handle better. When you have someone, John Jones was the champion. John Jones got popped for cocaine and was stripped of the title and suspended, and then he got in a whole bunch of legal trouble with the cops. And when he came back after he got cleaned up, the first fight back was going to be a title shot, and the champion got hurt and couldn't defend the title, so they made it an interim title fight. And he won. So John Jones got suspended and stripped of a title and walks right back into the door a year later and is handed the belt. No questions asked.
That's not cool.
That's not. They didn't treat this like a punishment. They treated it like an injury.
Yeah, treated it like
That's
a
exactly
vacation.
what they did. They treated it like an injury. There was no punishment laid down. There were no consequences for his actions, and he messed up. He got a slap on the wrist. He walked right back in, and they gave him his belt back. And I don't think that's right. I don't like John Jones anyway, but I won't think this was not handled right for anyone. If this was GSP, if this was Junior Dos Santos, if these were fighters that I like, I still wouldn't think this was handled properly. Because stripping someone of a title and suspending them is supposed to be a punishment. And Daniel Cormier, who's the current champion, his legacy as champion is forever tainted and questioned because of the way that this was handled.
Yeah.
And his championship is never going to be validated unless he can finally have that fight with John Jones. And I don't think it's right. I think the whole situation's been mishandled, and I hope the new management will nut up and actually look past the dollar sign and actually hand down some punishment.
Well, that's just the thing right there. If there was more consistency in their internal rulings, but I mean, look at Brock. I know. They allowed him to compete before the test was complete. I mean, I understand that there's late registrations and stuff like that.
Well, Brock. But I'll say this with Brock. I mean, that's all he was for them was dollar signs, because they had to get permission from the McMahons for him to fight in that fight, and they just wanted him for his name for that fight. Like, do I honestly think that he's going to fight again in UFC? Probably not. This was like a one-off.
They could have done it at another pay-per-view. I understand that it was 200 or whatever, but like when it comes to combat sports, if someone is juicing, that changes the way your muscles are built.
Right.
Like it's not regular muscles. It's something different. And somebody as big as Brock could legitimately kill somebody if they did a rear naked chuck and they were just a little bit off. They could crush the person's larynx without even trying,
Oh, yeah.
Thankfully, Brock isn't that good of a striker, but,
No, and, well, I mean, Brock's, go-to submission move is a Kimura, and he's broken arms before.
Yeah.
He broke Frank Mir's arm, if I'm not mistaken. Just snapped his forearm, Frank Mir's forearm over his own in a Kimura lock.
Can you imagine what that'd feel like?
Oh, God.
To feel another human being's bones snap because of you.
But yeah, the reason they wanted Brock was because UFC 100 is still the highest grossing UFC pay-per-view ever, and Brock was in the main event. And so they wanted Brock to main event 200, or at least be a part of 200. And they made the deal without enough time to do the proper testing. And so it's not a surprise that he got hit anyway. Although this is the first drug test he's ever failed.
Yeah.
He made it through his football career in college, his wrestling career in college, and all through his WWE and UFC runs without him failing any drug tests. But
plus preseason with the Vikings.
Eric, you said you think. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
He is getting older.
Right. But Eric,
Yeah.
you said that you think this is a one-off. I disagree. And Beach and I were talking about this a week or so ago. That fight got him ranked. He is now officially a ranked UFC fighter. He is still under contract with the UFC and with WWE. If this proves to be a lucrative deal for both of them, I legitimately think that we could see Brock Lesnar with the title from both companies inside a year.
And he's not that great at MMA. He's like 3
No,
and
he's
3.
not.
He's mediocre.
No,
He
yeah,
gets
I mean,
fights.
I saw
He
It's
gets
just
fights on
massive.
WWE rules. That's how
Yeah.
he's always gotten his UFC fights.
and
Yeah.
see,
WWE logic.
I saw a
Yeah.
fight. I saw a fight with like his first title defense. He should have lost, but the refs, I guess, were told, let it go a little bit longer because he was not defending himself, and they let it keep going, and he should have lost, and then ended up coming back in the second round to win. But
yeah, I mean, the heavyweight division is a mess in the UFC right now. It is a big hot mess, and if you can get Brock is only going to work the big shows for WWE. He's going to work SummerSlam. He's going to work Survivor Series in November. He'll work the Rumble in January, and he'll work WrestleMania in March. That's all he's going to work. He might work one or two other ones, but that's pretty much all he's going to do because it's all he has to do. They put a belt on him at the end of last year, and he wasn't on TV for 2 months.
yeah, I hope they don't put a belt on him.
He's holding the world title and not even on TV for 2 months.
Not the Universal title now.
It's not like on The Miz where he's the Intercontinental Champion and he went to go make a WWE movie.
Yeah.
And was still cutting promos while making that movie.
Exactly. He was still a character. He was still on every week. While he wasn't actively defending the title, he was still cutting promos from the set and everything like that. Brock won the belt on the pay-per-view and then just walked away for 2 months and didn't do anything with it.
He was the standing champion for 2 months and was not on TV the whole time.
Yes.
Oh hell, that's
That's why I was surprised that Raw took him.
I don't remember.
Since they had already taken Roman Reigns.
I guess
it's both of them so close
he
together.
won the title. He won the title at the Royal Rumble. I want to say he won the title at the Royal Rumble in 2015 and did not show back up until he was promoting WrestleMania in March. He was not on TV from, let's say, mid-January to mid-March of 2015.
Was that when Roman Reigns?
Because that's when Reigns won that Rumble, and that's when Brock.
Seth Rollins
because Brock went into WrestleMania that year as the champion. And I want to say he won the title at off of John Cena at the Royal Rumble, and then disappeared for 2 months and didn't show back up until he defended it at WrestleMania. And I legitimately could see him walk into the UFC as WWE champion and walk out with their heavyweight championship and have both titles. If they have a way to make that happen, Dana White and Vince McMahon will make that happen.
Yeah, if it can be done, they'll figure out a way to make it so, just to where they can
market it.
Yeah. Ugh.
And the problem is, the longer they push Brock Lesnar, the less credibility the UFC has.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, people are starting to figure it out. Like the UFC is losing its credibility, the way that some of this stuff's being handled. But he got $2.5 million for that fight at UFC 200, and Mark Hunt is demanding half of it be given to him because he was juiced in the fight.
Yeah, well,
and,
I mean,
and Dana was like, "That's cute."
if it helps you feel any better, you can always look at the pictures I'm looking at. It's Brock's wife and Tori Wilson nude.
Yeah,
I love
that was
you.
a good. That was a good issue.
Yeah, it was.
I remember
So-
that.
I got WWE questions for you, Chris,
Okay,
about
lay 'em
Raw.
on me.
Do
Okay.
you think the fact that Reigns lost to Finn Balor in like Finn Balor's first ever opportunity in WWE was kind of punishment, saying not only are you not going to get a chance at the
Oh,
new
yeah.
belt, you're gonna lose the opportunity for a new belt to a guy who just came in
Okay, but here's
out of
the
the
thing.
minor leagues.
No, well, here's the thing. Well, first of all, to set the stage for that, Roman Reigns was the champion going into Money in the Bank last month. He lost the title, then showed up on Raw. They signed a triple threat match for Battleground, which was this past Sunday, and then the next day it was announced that he failed a drug test and was suspended for 30 days. What he actually got hit for was Adderall.
That makes sense, though.
And see, Brock got hit for the estrogen blockers as well. I don't know if we actually addressed that.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
That John Jones and Brock both got hit for the estrogen blockers, but Reigns was using Adderall. That's what he got hit for.
He had a final exam that he had to stay up studying for.
Exactly. So he was being pushed as the top guy in the company, even though none of the fans could get behind it. The management was still on board with him for whatever reason. But he came back Sunday night from suspension, and I would bet money that the other two guys in that fight were told to just do whatever you need to do. And they double teamed the hell out of that guy, and they put him through the announce table, and he actually was the one that got pinned. Then Raw starts, and Stephanie McMahon tore into him in the opening segment of Raw. Then
Like hardcore terror.
Yeah. And then he gets pinned in the main event and loses his chance to go to SummerSlam. Now, do I think allowing him to win the Fatal 4-Way to get into the main event and then losing the main event is continued punishment? Yes, I do. I absolutely think they're like, we'll let you have the Fatal 4-Way, but you're still going to get a clean loss in the main event.
Mhm.
I am a little surprised because I did expect Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns to headline SummerSlam. I really did.
Chris, I mean, I can vouch for that because Chris was saying when we were texting during Battleground, and Chris was saying, I think that Chris and I were both wrong. We expected Seth Rollins to win Battleground, but that SummerSlam would be Reigns versus Rollins.
Yeah. Now, Finn Balor winning, I don't see his push any different than AJ Styles. Finn Balor has been in NXT for a while. He was the longest reigning NXT champion they've had thus far. Now, NXT's only been around for 2-3 years, so that's not really saying a lot per se, because there's only been like three other...
As opposed to like going into Andre the Giant type.
Right, exactly. There's only been like 2 or 3 other guys that have come close to his title reign. Finn Balor is not some upstart that went into NXT and now has been called up. Finn Balor has had a career all over the world, just like AJ Styles. This is just the first time he's come over here and done anything.
Okay.
The whole Bullet Club thing with AJ Styles and Anderson and Gallows, which is
The club.
the New Japan version of the NWO. Finn Balor started that, and AJ took it over after Finn Balor left and went to NXT. So Finn Balor is every bit as seasoned as AJ Styles is, so I'm not surprised that they're pushing him into the main event scene already, because they did the exact same thing to AJ. He's an established star.
Right. I was just more surprised that they're pushing him into belt contention.
I was a little surprised that they went ahead and did it right away, but I was also kind of surprised they did it to AJ too. That his first pay-per-view, he got a title shot.
Oh, see, I missed that.
Because he debuted at the Royal Rumble, and then whatever the pay-per-view, Fastlane, I think is what it was called, he got a title shot.
Okay. See, I didn't know that. I just knew that he had gone. Like, pretty much my introduction was the chairs match at WrestleMania.
Yeah. Oh, no, I take that back. He got the title shot. He was the first person to go to fight Roman Reigns. After Reigns won the title at WrestleMania, he was the first one that got a shot at Reigns.
Okay.
And so, yeah, the push is a little unexpected. What is actually more unexpected is the fact that Dolph Ziggler is the #1 contender. If you haven't watched SmackDown yet, sorry.
I did.
Fantastic name. I know that much.
Yeah, I will say that does. I haven't watched SmackDown, but I will say that surprises me because Dolph Ziggler. I just he's never really impressed me.
Yeah. Here's something funny that you'll appreciate. So Dolph Ziggler, his nickname is the Show Off, and he has this. He's been a heel for a while, but now he's somewhat of a face, I guess. He's kind of ambiguous as to whether or not he's a face or a heel, but he has a Billy Gunn style character, and even uses the Famouser as his finisher.
Oh.
And he kind of looks like a young Billy Gunn, and just that he kind of has the whole badass Billy Gunn persona going on.
Yeah, I just pulled him up. He's not that young. He's 36.
He looks really young though.
Yeah.
He's got. I mean, he doesn't look 36.
He does have that Billy Gunn kind of look to him.
And his whole persona is kind of the same thing. But do you remember the Spirit Squad? The male cheerleading stable?
Oh, God, yeah.
That's where he started.
Really?
Look up Dolph Ziggler Spirit Squad. And that's where he got his start. Was in that male cheerleader, that college cheerleader stable.
My God. Wow.
But yeah, as far as Ziggler being the #1 contender, I really didn't expect that. But with both #1 contenders, I hope they continue it, and it's not just hey, look, we're trying something new. This with the brand split and everything, and we're giving people a shot that normally wouldn't get a shot. And I hope they're not just doing it right out of the gate and they continue it, because that's what the brand split needs to do. It needs to give people that have been stuck in the mid card a chance to step up.
That's why I really hope they bring back the light heavyweight title.
Well, is that kind of what they're doing?
Cool.
With the
Hold on. We have a guest.
Okay.
You built some cars? Well, that's awesome, buddy. Oh, okay, we'll see if you can find it. Oh. Okay, sorry. He's discovered Legos, so he's very proud of everything he builds.
Hey, I'm 35 and I'm still proud of everything I build with Legos. So
right. Eric, to answer your question, yes, the light heavyweight title is what was in WWF. And then WCW had the Cruiserweight title. They were essentially the same belt, and they actually unified the two when WWF bought WCW. They unified the two, and it became the Cruiserweight Championship was the last belt they had. But it's the same thing. And I think if you go look at the belt history, I think at one point it starts divided and then eventually becomes the same belt. But they haven't announced that the cruiserweight title is coming back, but they have said the cruiserweight division is going to be exclusive to Raw, and they're doing the tournament on the network. I really, really expect them to announce the official return of the belt, and the final match of the Cruiserweight Classic is going to be at SummerSlam. That's what I think they're going to do.
So,
It's just really insulting that it was retired with Hornswoggle. I mean, because I'll always call it the light heavyweight title.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
they always had the best matches because that's where you found the high flyers. It was people that were big risk takers. You know, they may not have always had the deepest or most storied, storylines, but they always had the best matches.
Right.
It's a shame that it went out on something as gimmicky as Hornswoggle.
Yeah, I mean, you have people like Taka Michinoku and Rey Mysterio,
the freaking Guerrero family, X-Pac.
Now, here's a question for you, just because, this is my personal ignorance of it. If they put in a belt, would that be something more what Enzo Amore could be able to go for, since obviously
if Enzo went as a singles wrestler, I think Enzo could go after the Cruiserweight Championship if he is within the weight requirement. If they're going to be strict on the weight requirement, because let's be honest, Rey Mysterio Jr. was the heavyweight champion.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. Well, it's just like they used to pretend to be pretty strict on the I mean, I remember one episode where they put Christian in a chicken suit, had him doing workouts and eating X-Lax to where he could burn off the final couple of pounds to be eligible for the light heavyweight title.
Right.
That was a good episode.
So, okay, just for the history here, in 2001 at SummerSlam, Tajiri was the WCW Cruiserweight Champion, and X-Pac was the WWF Light Heavyweight Champion. And at SummerSlam of 2001, there was supposed to be a unification match, but it was canceled because X-Pac was hurt, and they quietly deactivated the Light Heavyweight Championship and rebranded the Cruiserweight Championship as a WWF title.
Right.
So, and then it moved forward with after 2001. Where was it? August of 2001. Looks like Billy Kidman won the Cruiserweight Championship in October of 2001, and that would have been the unification-ish thing. So, but yeah, I mean, it's guys that are never going to be a main event player, like the Hurricane. I mean,
yeah, well,
Sugar Shane Helms is never going to hold the world title.
So, and that's the other thing that just it upset me was I knew that you were right about them making the new belt.
Uh-huh.
Jesus, with the name.
Oh, I know. Yeah, you get this, okay? So I told you they've done the brand split again, and that they are two independent operations now, and they're doing the different titles again. There's going to be a world champion on each show.
Right.
Well, the existing WWE Championship is on SmackDown. Well, Raw can't be left out because it's the big show, no pun intended. They have to have their own belt. So they're creating a new belt. And they're calling it the WWE Universal Championship.
What?
I'm not making this up
Yeah, no,
because it's inspired by the fans, by the WWE universe. And so it's named for them. It's named for us. It's our title. It's
But-
been named for us, and such is named the WWE Universal Championship. And that's pretty much a direct quote from Mick Foley from Monday Night.
Yeah.
But grammatically speaking, when you use universal in those terms, you're saying an overarching thing like it's the championship above other championships.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So somebody needs to know how words work.
Oh,
No, I
no,
think
they
I
know
know what
exactly
you're
how words work.
Okay.
No, they're pretty much they're saying, yeah, you guys can keep that belt. We're gonna have the better belt over here.
Okay. You have
Yeah.
the world championship. We have the universal championship.
Yeah, oh, no, they know, they totally knew what they were doing.
Just call it the God belt if you're gonna do that.
Right? But yeah, it's craziness.
That's a dumb name. God,
I'm just
it's gonna
curious
be
what it's
the-
going to look
Because-
like.
I was about to say it's gonna be the gaudiest belt.
Right. I'm really curious what it's going to look like because I saw a mock-up of what they could do and have the belts look the same, except right now the belt, and it's a gorgeous belt. Don't get me wrong. They redesigned the WWE Championship several years ago. It is a gorgeous belt. It's got a big diamond encrusted WWE logo on it with it's like the two W's with the red
Right.
thing underneath it. It was suggested that title, the Raw title, have a red line under WW, and the SmackDown one have a blue one, a
Yeah.
blue line, and just have the belts look the same. Just one has a red color scheme and one has a blue color scheme.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll always be a fan of the big gold. You know, the old title belt.
That is my favorite belt of all time.
Yeah, and even the Smoke and Skull belt also, but the big gold is always going to have a place in my heart.
That belt, God, that belt.
Yeah, you want one, don't you?
Dude, you don't even know. Like that's my unicorn. That is my white whale.
Yeah, that'll always have a place for me.
Is to get my own big gold.
That's why we got to sign up, man.
I know, right?
We got to get into the wrestling game before it's too late.
So, and speaking of, I just posted a link to where I can get a custom one.
Oh
And if
yeah.
I ever lose all the weight I've wanted to lose for the last 5 years, that's going to be my reward to myself, is that belt.
It's a good belt.
Oh, cool.
It's so
You've
pretty.
you've shown that to me before.
Yeah,
What
I
do
just
you
got to
do?
figure out. I don't know. I don't know what to put on the side plates, but I know at the top where
Mhm.
it's got all that space to customize is going to say "try not, do or do not." There is no try. And then down on the bottom, where I'm going to put my name.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what to put on the side plates though. I haven't figured that out yet. But that's going to be my reward to myself. Is that belt? It's going to cost me It's going to cost me the north end of $300 to do it.
That's
but-
not too bad.
If I can lose over 100 pounds, I've earned it.
Well, if you can lose over 100 pounds, you've saved that much money
Oh, I know,
Yeah,
right?
Just-
in
just-
food
just-
costs.
Every pound, throw 50 cents over.
And I'd only have $50, dude.
I
I don't even. I'm not even good at
$2.
math, and I know that.
$2. I'm sorry. Sorry.
I thought you got a
AJ, all the-
science degree. I
Science
thought you
degree,
did
not
all
math.
this. But didn't you have to do all this fancy?
I had to do evil math. Evil math that requires you to do devilish things that humans aren't supposed to do.
Now, can I say I don't like the belts with the white leather? Like, I'm seeing some of the ones here, and they've got like white leather instead of black, and I'm not a fan of that. Did Chris mute himself or something?
I don't know. I'm gonna look at these
There,
white
I did.
belts.
My bad.
Yeah.
Sorry, I hit the button.
Yeah.
For those of you without the benefit of visual aids that on this podcast. We're currently looking at proambelts.com for all your custom belt needs. And they have all kinds of different belts. They've got some. They do have one that is inspired by the UFC heavyweight title. I believe it's the which one is it? That's the UFC belt. I don't remember. I think it's the Emperor, maybe, is the UFC belt, something like that. They do have one that's supposed to be based on the UFC heavyweight title, and then they've got the big gold and all kinds of funness going on. But they're super expensive.
What's the modern equivalent to the Intercontinental Championship? They still have that?
Yeah, they still have the Intercontinental.
Do they?
Yeah, they have two mid-card titles. They have the United States Championship and the Intercontinental Championship.
The European belt was one that was retired, wasn't it?
In favor of the United States Championship that was brought over from WCW.
That's held by a Bulgarian.
Yeah. Who actually is Russian? Like,
oh yeah, no, he's
legit Russian. His
girlfriend is
fiancée
not.
with the bad accent is like from Georgia or something.
Ohio.
Yeah.
I was about to say, Georgia is a former Soviet state. Then I
yes,
realized
because
what you meant.
they covered that on Community when they did their UN.
But yeah,
UN.
no, it's they retired the European Championship in favor of the United States Championship when they bought WCW.
Because America.
So, when they bought WCW, they inherited 4 belts.
Yeah.
They inherited a second world champion, the U.S. champion, the cruiserweight champion, and the tag team champions. Okay.
So,
Mommy's making a spaceship, guys.
All right.
Awesome.
So I've got a question.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember much about her fights. Is Nia Jax gonna is it gonna
Nia
be fair?
Jax is a NXT.
No, she's not. She was.
I know. That's what I'm saying. That she came over from NXT.
Like all the other women I've seen wrestling, it looks like it should be pretty one-sided anytime anybody goes against her. Have they been able to?
I think that's kind of her shtick. Is she's a hefty chick, and I don't know her record. I don't know how well anybody over in NXT has done against her. But I think that's her bit. Is she's just
I'm just wondering
beefy chick.
I can't remember. I remember China wrestling, but I just don't remember if because China was just.
China didn't wrestle in the women's division.
Not normally, no.
I think she may have had the women's championship once, but China didn't wrestle, and because she was just a valet, and when she did, she actually held the Intercontinental Championship twice.
Yeah, only woman to do it.
And if Hunter hadn't started sleeping with Stephanie, she would have been the WWE champion.
Yeah.
That was the plan because he was engaged to China, and he started sleeping with Steph, and when you're sleeping with the boss's daughter,
you get what you want. The boss's daughter gets.
And so China was fired, and she never got the title, but she was supposed to win, I want to say, the Royal Rumble, and actually win the WWE title at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, she's lost to Bayley. Nia Jax has lost to Bayley.
Okay.
So.
But yeah, I don't know. Nia Jax is a.
I mean, because granted,
tough chick.
Her fight, Braun Strowman's fight, and realistically,
their squash match.
The Certified G fight was just.
They're bringing back squash matches. Those are local. They used to do this a lot back in the day to help build up characters, especially people like Braun Strowman and back in the day Goldberg. They would feed local wrestlers to them in squash matches just to make them look intimidating.
Right.
And that's what they're bringing back I think they called them the feature. I think they called it a feature match or some. Excuse me, something like that. They're squash matches where it's a local jobber who got paid probably $100 to get to be on Raw and get their ass handed to them for 30 seconds,
Yeah,
and then go home and tell all their friends, "Hey, I was on Raw last night."
right.
And so it's they did it on SmackDown too.
Okay, because well, now I know that the one with the certified G's, which is
Was
just
supposed to be until they got interrupted.
because they fought actual guys. So
Yes, and there was one that got interrupted as well on SmackDown when the guy that didn't get drafted came in. He interrupted the show, um, but no, they're bringing back, and it's if they ever come back from commercial and there's somebody in the ring that you don't recognize, and then a legit person gets their entrance, that's what's about to happen.
Yeah.
right.
It's a no-name person that is about to just get slammed and be done in probably less than 2 minutes.
Yeah, because definitely I would have remembered seeing a guy with an Offspring tattoo.
Yeah, no, that was just some local guy from wherever they were.
But yeah, they've definitely Braun Strowman has already gone from I'm part of the Wyatt clan to now, yeah, he kept his beard, but he definitely retooled the
He
hair.
looks like Ogre.
I don't know who.
I get that reference
He looks like Ogre from.
from Revenge of the
Oh, yeah.
Nerds.
He absolutely looks like Ogre.
It took me a second. I thought you were talking about a wrestler. Mine didn't.
No,
I'm home with a 14-month-old all day, so I'm sorry
Yeah.
my brain does not work as well. as it
no,
used
I
to.
know. Trust me. So speaking of small ones, I'm gonna need to put him down soon. So Eric, if you want to talk about what you call it, the
Stranger
movie we
Things?
saw.
Oh, the movie.
No, the movie we saw. If you want to talk about that, let's talk about that so
Oh,
we
yeah.
can wrap this up.
I mean, I told you my problem with it, and it's the problem that everybody has with it. It's the first
Right.
You get rid of that first half. We're talking about the Killing Joke, and
Oh, okay.
they added this story with Barbara Gordon.
Hold
to
on.
kind
Whoa. First, let's before you start that. Eric and I went to the theatrical premiere. Not together, separately, but we went to the theatrical premiere of The Killing Joke. That is either out now,
It's out now. It came
Um,
out on Tuesday.
and it's the animated adaptation of Alan Moore's Killing Joke graphic novel with Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill returning as Batman and the Joker. If you have not seen it yet, this is spoilers because they added an entire first act to this movie because the book is really short and there wasn't enough narrative there for a 90-minute movie, so they had to add an extra bit to it. So if you have not seen the Killing Joke animated movie yet, this is a spoiler. Go
Yes.
ahead.
Okay. Well, I wasn't
Sorry, I just
actually.
didn't want to make anybody mad because that's
The only part I was going to spoil was the worst part of it. I
right.
wasn't a big fan of the story that they put in. They've got this story of Barbara Gordon and having a personal vendetta with a local crime lord's nephew who's trying to become the new crime lord.
With the best name ever. His name is Paris Franz.
Franz. And they even make a reference to how ridiculous that name is. But
Yeah.
anyway, so okay, so they've got this whole thing, and I'm just like, and they keep talking about the darkness, and I figure, it's been a few years, so I forgot about the crippling of Barbara Gordon. So I was like, okay, well maybe they can use this to flash back or whatever. No, it's just the part that got me is that Barbara Gordon is in love with Batman the entire time.
Well, she has a crush on him. She has. I wouldn't say she's in love with him. She has she has like a student teacher crush on him. Is the way that was my interpretation of it.
Except for she has it at the expense of any other guy in the world.
Right. She is hung up on Batman, and it came across to me as more of like a student teacher thing, more than anything else. And I don't think she's actually in love with him. It was more of an infatuation.
but anyways, they then took it to what pretty much they took it to what I would consider what I told Chris is fanfic of somebody who has constantly read these things and then decided to go online and write a story where Barbara Gordon and Batman hook up.
They got busy.
And if you and so they do this whole thing, and she does like a narration of it, and once it's all done, you can literally cut that out, because then it just starts with the actual Killing Joke, and there's no reference to that ever again.
Yeah.
It pretty much cold starts a new movie. Like, it was like, okay, we're going to throw you this 30-minute fanfic episode.
It does, like, she does have some narration that bridges it, because she's like, I would never put the cape on again after that night. But that became irrelevant because a week later and it was basically, she's like, that this was the moment that she decided that she couldn't be Batgirl anymore, and that she needed to put that behind her. And when she stopped being Batgirl and was just Barbara Gordon, that's when it all went to hell, and she actually got hurt as Barbara Gordon and not Batgirl. And that the darkness that Bruce warned her about, she tried to walk away from it, and the darkness found her in her real life.
Right. So
separate from being Batgirl.
But what my point is that so you got that little bridge, that little narration bridge. You get rid of that narration bridge and you just start where it's raining. You get you can start.
Well, no, you're right. You're not wrong. If you can start just past that, and you're not missing anything, because they never reference the first.
They never reference
30
the first minutes after that.
You're right. No, you're absolutely right there. But there is the voiceover does validate the first act in some respect.
But to me, that entire 30 minutes was just. I wish it wasn't there, and because the rest of the next hour was great. I mean, it was pretty much exactly what you like. The animation was pretty much exactly what you got from The Killing Joke, and the story was frame for frame essentially what you read in the graphic novel. Just I could have done without that. Otherwise, if you've read The Killing Joke, if you get past that, just get past the first 30 minutes where you kind of are like, what the hell am I watching? And then you'll get to the good stuff.
And, of course, Conroy and Hamill knock it out of the park, especially Mark Hamill. God, Mark Hamill.
Did they show the thing at the beginning of...
and the end, yeah.
Well, I didn't. I left for the music documentary because it was 11 o'clock at night. I'm like,
Yeah, at the beginning of the theatrical thing, they had this interview with Mark Hamill about his developing the Joker character, the Joker voice, and how all that came around. And it was funny because he said he walks in, and I couldn't tell if it was after he'd gotten the part or when he came to read for it or what, but it had a picture of what Joker was going to look like in the animated series, and 3 words: "Don't think Nicholson."
Mm-hmm.
And that was pretty much all the direction he got to create the character.
But I also loved the little bit where he talked about getting the part of Luke Skywalker, where he gets the original script title, like The Adventures of Luke Skywalker from the Wills of the Adventures of Star Wars. And he's like, wait a minute. I thought I was Luke Skywalker.
Yeah. He didn't realize that he'd been cast as the lead in the movie. And the way he got cast in Star Wars was kind of the same way he got cast in Batman, and he said he wanted to do like Two-Face or Penguin or something. He didn't want to do the Joker because it was too iconic, and they would never, from a he said from a PR standpoint, they'd never let Luke Skywalker be the Joker, and they cast him as the Joker, and he was like, well, crap.
Yeah, he's the only the real Joker I actually like too in the cartoon, because like I was flipping through the channels the other night and there was one of the Batman cartoons was on, and I clicked on it. It was some other dude, and I watched it for like 30 seconds. I was like, nope.
Yeah,
I just couldn't do it.
I watched part of Under the Red Hood, and I was not.
I think that's what it was.
Maggio.
I think that's what it was, because it was the Joker was right there. I didn't watch anything because the Joker was in the scene that I happened to click on.
Right.
And I just heard the voice, and I was like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't listen to another person's voice come from the Joker.
Now, I will say that the guy who did the voice for Arkham Origins did a good job, but he was definitely. But when you
he was
watch
doing Hamill, you know.
Yeah, he was doing Hamill. And, I mean, the game sucked, but the guy who did the voice did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Of doing Hamill.
So yeah,
Doing the Joker.
you should check out Killing Joke. It's good. You'll like it.
I
on
definitely
iTunes.
want to.
Especially if you've never read the book and you really are not familiar with the actual story, you should read it. It's or you should watch the movie. It's a very true.
It's not in theaters anymore. It was 2 days only. Now it's
Yeah,
hit
no,
the digital market.
it was a special. It was a special event, a Fathom event type thing.
Yeah.
It's
you should.
out there now. It won't be hard to find.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you should go. Well,
I imagine
it'll
it'll
be a
be a
little
Redbox.
harder. It'll be a little harder to find than it was 3 days ago.
What do you mean?
Not that we.
oh
not
yeah.
that- no, I'm not suggesting that anybody in this group finds their content in such a manner, but the alleged owner of Kick-Ass Torrents, because he's stupid and used an Apple email address to sign up for Facebook, got caught, and Kick-Ass Torrents has been seized by the government.
Political prisoner. That's all I can say.
So
The government can seize people's patents, and it's perfectly legal. But citizens can't use patents of other citizens, or we go to prison.
it's true.
Like we also private citizens use people like certain presidential nominees use the government to get eminent domain to build their casinos. Because they can't because the people won't buy them out.
Yeah, and other political figures possibly running for president use their husband's position as governor to make massive land claims that aren't theirs. So
Yeah, no.
they're all corrupt, man. I'm so done.
So, all right.
Bro.
Well, does anyone have anything? I was gonna say, does anyone have anything political to add to the proceedings? But,
American Gods.
I saw the trailer. It looks pretty good. It made me pick up the book.
Never heard of it.
Neil Gaiman.
it's a Neil Gaiman, so it's gonna be out there. I've never read it. I hear good things, but I've never read it.
It's the same guy
I will
who wrote
say,
Stardust and Coraline for movie references that you can watch to get an idea of his work.
I will say the Wonder Woman trailer looks awesome.
Yeah,
The pseudo trailer for Justice League.
Yes.
that looks
Holy crap!
completely different from.
I will take
No, it doesn't.
snarky Bruce Wayne
Yeah.
all day. Like Ben Affleck as snarky Bruce Wayne, especially when he's talking to Aquaman. Oh God, he was awesome.
I just want someone to randomly bring up the name Martha like every 15 minutes, just to mess
Right.
with him, just to watch him collapse in on himself. Why did you say that name?
Yeah,
It's like, wow, he
it looks
never,
like it
he-
does look like a completely different different movie. And we'll close with an observation that no one has addressed. Speaking of Batman, Superman, DC Cinematic Universe, the QuickTime files that Lex has, that's how they chose to introduce the rest of the league.
Mhm.
Why has no one addressed the fact that Miles Dyson is the one that creates Cyborg?
I was telling Kelly that last night.
Like,
I said he's on Smallville.
no. He's the creator of the Terminator.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
The guy
he
from
worked
Terminator
for
2.
Cyberdyne. Yeah, he was a
Yes.
Cyberdyne employee.
Yes. Miles
He
Dyson.
died in that explosion because he couldn't hold it anymore.
Yes.
Right.
Miles
Yeah.
Dyson creates Cyborg. This
Yeah.
is not going to end well. There's an entire film franchise about why this is not going to end well.
Except for those were not cyborgs. Those were androids.
But the timeline's been changed because it's the Terminator. So,
That's great.
It's true. Timey-wimeys.
I'm just saying. And I welcome our robotic overlords.
Amen.
I bow.